Welcome back to another edition of Sports Junkies. Time to talk some Bucks basketball. We're out here at Burlington Catholic Central. And the president of Burlington Catholic Central, Coach Eric Henderson, he's sticking around because he wants to see if there's going to be blows in this segment. Steve Sparky, Fifer here from Sports Radio 1250.
Beef up security.
Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times. And I'm going to start off something with what you brought up with me on the Pick and Save Basketball postgame show last night on SSP, talking about the potential ownership groups that might be investing as partners, I guess you would call it, with Herb Kohl. And there's a couple that are getting close, huh?
Yeah, about a month ago I wrote a column for the Racine Journal-Times saying, that there is definitely interest in buying the team, including a bunch of local guys or who have connections with the Bucks or Wisconsin, and a couple outside groups. Well, this past week I heard that there is at least 2 groups, out-of-state groups, that are interested in becoming partners with Herb Kohl. And, whether that could go down this week, next week, who knows? I mean, Herb Kohl has been very, very, what's the term I'm looking for? Reluctant to sell his team. He's had.
Well, he's not selling.
No.
They're just becoming partners.
Right.
To clarify.
And he's had opportunities in the past to do both, bring on partners or sell the team.
Remember Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan went right down to the wire. I mean, that was
could have had a team in Kenosha.
Or Las Vegas.
No, he wasn't going to Las Vegas.
You never know. But the point is, there is definitely interest in the Bucks ownership situation. It all hinges on Herb Kohl. If Herb Kohl wakes up one morning and says, you know what, let's do it, it's done. If he decides, hey, I like this gig by myself, who knows? All
right, now the one get me excited moment is one of these ownership groups has a little different feel to it. One of these ownership groups has a guy all ready to come in and roll.
Sure.
What are you talking about?
Well, I've been told it's a former NBA general manager.
That's currently not a GM.
Correct. He would be the face of the franchise going forward. He would be making all the calls. And if he came in, I think there would be some radical changes, in the Bucks administration. And again, it all hinges on Herb Kohl. This thing might never, ever materialize. It could happen tomorrow. It's just... in such a state
NBA
of flux.
GM,
yeah.
Will it be a person that Coach Henderson would know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Is it a person that the fan
Coach Henderson knows everybody.
Right, we know that. And just talking to him, he literally knows everybody.
So you can't say he's an average fan.
But would average fan hear this GM's name and go, yeah, he's been successful, I like that?
It's perspective. It's perspective.
That means no.
Well, I mean,
okay, that's fine.
Put it this way. If you're a ex-GM, somewhere along the line, somebody didn't think you did a good job, right?
Sure.
That is why you are a former GM. That doesn't mean you're a bad GM, but the last circumstance was that, hey, you're out of a job,
Did this former GM...
There we go, 60 minutes interrogation.
Right. Here we
the
go.
GM?
That's who I want to know, right?
You're not getting it out.
You don't got to tell me. You're going to tell me.
No,
has this former GM ever took a team to the NBA Finals?
No. No. But how many guys have? I mean,
Oh, absolutely right.
I mean, I can name you 15 really good GMs right now, and they didn't get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Because
if I didn't, to the conference finals, much less the NBA finals.
Right. I mean, that
doesn't mean you're a bad GM.
No, fine. But it's going to be a situation of, if he's going to be the face,
correct,
whoever this is, he's going to have to be able to sell the fan base of why they should trust him. Mm-hmm. That is going to be key in this whole deal. And that's why we've talked about before. If it's the owner of the Brewers, yeah, he has no basketball knowledge, but look at what he did in Milwaukee with the Brewers, and the fans are going to go, whatever you say, Mark, we're with you.
You know what, though? When Antonaggio became the owner of the Brewers, there wasn't this big outcry.
Yes, there was.
No, there wasn't.
Yes, there was.
They thought he would be good because he replaced Bud Selig.
Right.
They had no idea if he was going to be
exactly
good
right.
or not.
Like I've said before, it was anybody that replaces Bud they would be happy with.
Right.
And to a degree, it'll be the same with Herb, whoever it is. But if you're talking about a former NBA general manager that has a track record that the fans can go back and research and go, oh, he screwed that up, he screwed that up, he screwed that up, and we start going
I will safely tell you this. You can go research every general manager. There's 30 in the NBA. Mm-hmm. I will guarantee you 27 of them have screwed up big time along the way.
I understand that.
But you have to just keep their jobs longer than others.
That's great. You can spin this as much as you want. But at the end of the day, this general
manager... I'm not spinning it anyway. I'm telling you the way it is.
This former NBA general manager has to get an arena. I mean, that is going to be his job. Yeah, whatever happens on the basketball court, fine. But he's got to figure out a way, because I'm assuming they can't do this without public money still.
Yeah, no.
To be able to get public money.
I'm convinced there'll be partially public money.
Sure.
But Herb Cole's, again, I mean, Herb Cole is front and center in this whole situation. As far as an arena, I think he's going to make a huge contribution. And I wrote about this in my column 3 weeks ago, whatever. It's going to be, in my mind, in excess of $100 million.
Right.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
For I don't care who you are to put it in.
All right, so we've got that whole situation going on. Now let's switch gears, because now we've seen the mock draft starting to come out for the NBA draft.
God, you'd never make 60 minutes. I mean, I would have been grilling Woelfel as hard as I could.
Because I know you. If you say you're not going to tell me, you're not going to tell me.
I'm not going to tell you. You are correct,
Okay,
sir.
so these recent mock drafts that are coming out from the different broadcast groups and websites and everything else, there seems to be a consensus number one right now on all of these. For the Bucks, and I'm assuming everybody's hearing the same thing, and that is Joel Embiid to the Bucks at number one. Now, mind you, Joel Embiid right now is out for Kansas, the center, with a sprained knee and a hurt back or a sore back, whatever you want to call it.
That's the type of guy the Bucks need to draft.
But anytime you have a big guy,
fit right in.
Right,
you know?
but anytime you have a big guy, that's going to be a concern. Any big guy, you concerned about back.
I totally agree with you.
So I'm not as concerned about that right now, but Joel Embiid at one. What are you hearing right now, the way that the Bucks are leaning?
I'm not hearing that at all.
What are you hearing?
I think they're open yet. I don't think they've made any decision. I mean, it's way, way too early.
Absolutely.
The NBA draft isn't until June 28th. They'll go to the pre-draft camp in Chicago, number one. Then they'll conduct individual workouts with all these guys.
I can't wait for those.
And I'll throw something else out. If, let's say, hypothetically, they get the number one pick, I know for a fact they're going to get bombarded with trade offers for that number one pick.
No. I do not care. No. Do you hear that? I've heard of Jim. I can do that.
They're in school right now.
I know. They'll come in here and tell you no, too. Bring the peanut butter jelly sandwich and you go, no. And then go back and eat.
But my point is, I agree with you. I would not give it up. The number one pick. But I'm saying there's going to be a bunch of guys, and they're going to get enticing offers. I'm telling you right now.
I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
No.
So, I mean, if you look at the Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks, they're all going to come hard. But
especially not the Lakers.
But I'm throwing that scenario out. That's something that, as we get closer to draft, we'll see what happens. But having said that, I've been reading all these media reports as well about the Bucks have decided on Joel Embiid. I don't know who these guys are talking to be honest with you.
They're talking to somebody.
The NBA people I'm talking to don't have Embiid as the number one guy. They have Parker as the number one guy.
The Bucks have Parker as the number one guy?
No. The people around the NBA.
Oh, so not the Bucks.
Yeah.
But as we know, every draft board could be different.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're talking about these three guys. Now, the one guy that's fallen the most is Wiggins. Because coming in to the season, everybody thought Wiggins was one and there was no debate. And then it was Parker and Embiid kind of came out of nowhere. So now you look at it and you go, hey, Wiggins could slide to 3, and depending on how much somebody may love Dante Exum, he may slide to 4.
Let me tell you about Wiggins, because you are the president of the Wiggins fan club.
Yeah, I do.
I'm going to hurt you.
Because I really think Bill Self is
They might have to call in security after I tell you this.
I'm telling you, I really think Bill Self is killing him. But that's my personal opinion.
He's killed a lot of guys in Kansas.
Yeah?
So anyways.
Agreed.
I talked to an NBA coach the other day. We had a long conversation about a number of topics. We brought up Wiggins. He has followed Wiggins for the last 3 years closely, right?
In high school.
Going back to high school, his quote was, some team is going to be bitterly disappointed when they draft him.
Why?
And exactly. That's exactly what I said. Why? Because athletically, he's got the package. I don't think there's any question about that. And you know what he said?
Drive. Doesn't know if he wants to be great.
I've been hearing the term he used, he goes, no motor.
Yeah, I've been hearing
that is not a good thing if you're going to be the number one overall pick in the draft. I mean, if you look at all the great players over the years, whether it's LeBron,
so you're saying he's O.J. Mayo?
I'm not saying that. That's what this guy's saying.
Because O.J. Mayo doesn't have a motor either. So,
but my point is,
O.J. Mayo is a very talented player.
Exactly. If you got the number one pick and this guy is going to play, 1 out of every 3 games, he's not going to be my number one pick.
See, and I tend to disagree. Not that I don't know Wiggins from anybody, but I just think he is more suited for the one-on-one game of the NBA more than he is playing in this goofy college system that Bill Self is doing. And we've said it before, and I'll have the same argument with you again. If he's playing for Coach Cal at Kentucky, he is at a much different place right now than if he is playing in this system there. Because Coach Cal is like, you want to go to the NBA, son? Here, I'll help you get here. I'll put a lot of guys number one. We'll make this be your thing, right? He does that. He understands how to kind of spotlight and help that player that's special get over the top. And right now, Self is simply not doing that. Now, with Embiid out, we're going to find out. Because now Wiggins has to be the guy. There's no arguing this.
I've seen.
So now give the ball to Wiggins and let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see what he can do because I've seen like 4 or 5 games and he's gotten the ball on the right wing countless times where he could have taken his guy to the basket, done whatever he wanted, and he deferred and passed the ball around. That doesn't cut it for the number 1 pick. If you get a guy in a one-on-one situation, you got to take advantage of it. If you're that superior of a player.
Now we're talking again about, is he too unselfish?
No,
and why is he too unselfish?
And the other thing about this, I mean, we're going to be talking about this draft for the next couple months.
Can't wait.
The other thing that I have noticed over the years, if you don't have a scorer's mentality early on, from high school, college on, you're never going to have it.
Okay, that's a good point.
He does not have a killer scoring mentality.
He did in high school.
Parker has a scoring mentality.
Wiggins was a video game in high school.
He was a highlight film, yeah.
So what happened?
But that doesn't mean...
What changed?
No. It doesn't mean that he's got a scoring mentality. He's not a big-time scorer in my mind. You know what one guy told me the other day? He said, yeah, if Wiggins comes in, he'll probably average 14, 15 points a game. If you're an NBA team...
I'll bet that guy his salary. You can't have that guy call me.
Oh.
I'll bet that guy his salary, and I don't make anywhere near whatever that guy makes, I'm sure.
I doubt that.
I'm telling you right now,
yeah.
I guarantee you that kid averages at least 20 points a night in the NBA. I guarantee you, when his career is over, he will have a career average of 20 points a night.
His career average is going to be over?
Yep.
I'll bet you whatever you want right now.
Okay, fine.
That's not going to happen, my man.
He will have it.
He's not even going to be as good a scorer as Big Dog.
He'll be a better scorer than Jabari Parker when it's all said and done.
No.
You can mark that down because Jabari Parker is closer to Big Dog than Wiggins is.
He's Big Dog, Carmelo Anthony, Grant Hill.
No, he's not the scorer that Carmelo is.
Are you kidding me?
No, I don't buy it.
He scored 20-plus points.
I understand that. I've watched him play.
The last guy to do that was a guy named Durant.
I watched him play in high school, too. Kevin Durant's a much better player than he is. Well, much better. Kevin Durant.
Actually, you're talking about the best player in basketball, second best player.
Kevin Durant in college dominated guys. I mean, he was putting up 34, 35 points on a given night.
Right.
I didn't see Jabari Parker do that.
But again, you talked about Wiggins being in the system. Duke doesn't rely on one guy.
Oh, so Parker gets the out for the system, but Wiggins doesn't.
No, it's a different
That's
thing.
how this works.
No, it's not at all. I'm just saying when Wiggins is in the Kansas system, he has opportunity to score. He decides on his own accord not to. Parker gets a one-on-one situation. He's taking that dude to the basket.
Every week I go through this.
No.
What do you, I love you. I love you.
Don't even go there.
Unconditional love.
Somebody else told me that last time.
Unconditional love, yeah. You're not my Valentine, but unconditional love. You really are. He is Gery Woelfel.
You know, just when you thought this program couldn't deteriorate anymore.
Gery Woelfel, Steve Sparky, Fifer, another edition of Sports Junkies. What will we argue about next week? Tune in and find out right here at RacineSportsZone.com.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.